just starting out on Smart Music. This is the beginner's guide all the way from joining in class to practicing with the songs. Okay, so basically, to join a class, your teacher should probably have sent out a link, something like this. It is https, admin.smartmusic.com/join. Alright, so make sure you copy that. Alright, we're going to go there. Now it's going to give you a class code. Those are some of my previous class codes, but here's a new one. It's different which each, okay, so there we go. That is my teacher and the class I'm joining. So the code is different for each class, so don't copy mine. Alright, so now I am enrolled in 3. I signed up for this a couple of days ago. So now you get to this the home page, and you're looking around, and you see, okay, so these are my classes, and if they decide to assign things, they'll pop up under the box, and then you'll have pending, late, reassigned, and graded stuff. Alright, now, what you're really looking for is in this box, okay? So, we have method books, band and orchestra songs, sight reading, solos, exercises, small ensembles, jazz improvisation, choir, and then pre-selection. Most of the stuff on this site is free, except the subscription, which right now is free for 2 months. So, first, let's go to method books. We're going to click on that. Now, this shows lots of method books, okay? And now to narrow that down, we're going to come over here, click instruments, and you want to find your instrument. So published instrument is going to pretty much show all of them. So I'm a trombone player, so there we go, trombone. So now, see, it's narrowed it down to just 3 books. Alright, everything from Rubanks to Essential Elements, which we're going to start on. So, Essential Elements, there's 3 books plus a jazz ensemble, so we're going to go to book 1. Okay, so now we look here. There's some information you should look for. First, the instrument list. This will show up on pretty much every piece. It'll show, the instruments involved and if you can play or not. Composer, arranger, if you want to look at that stuff. Publisher, genre. This one is just method books. Category. Difficulty level. Now, this is very important. So, difficulty, if you're, starting out on your instrument, for instance, if you're in book 1, you might want very easy or easy songs, which will show up as green. Then there's the medium easy, medium hard, which are the mid-range, and those will show up as yellow. And then red is obviously difficult. Now you can come up here, and you can go through it, and not read, it'll show up gray. But, so yeah, you just go through here, and let's say I want easy, so this one, for instance, very easy. Here we are, it's finally loaded, and Essential Elements, book 1 again. So now you're going to click open, and you can select the instrument. So if you already put in here trombone or your instrument, it'll automatically put it up. But if you want to change it, click this reset. Looks like the refresh button. Filter it again, and there we go, trombone. Movement. So on most songs, this will show up as, the actual movement, 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. Or the solo section if it was a jazz song. But for method books, it'll show up by the song name and, numbers. So, looking down, number 17, Hot Cross Bunch, for example. So, we're going to click open. And here it's going to load some of the things. So now, you get here, and this is where the hard stuff starts coming in. So, we're going to just take this one step at a time. So, when you look up here, we have the accompaniment, my part, and the metronome with subdivisions and then swing. So, and then this bar is count off, stuff like that. We'll get to that later. So the accompaniment, if I turn all this off, this is a bit weird for method books. It's like a background, but not yours. So yeah, you can basically tell it doesn't really fit Hot Cross Buns very well. But let's say you're listening to a real piece, then I'll be playing the actual music and not some phony thing you can't hear. Anyway, so personally, when I do method books, I like to turn that off. My part, so very important. This is not an actual recording. This is most likely a synthesizer, so it may sound a bit funny, but just stick with it. Now, to go back to a certain measure, just click at the beginning of it. That blue line appears there. And just click the arrow. Anyway, so yeah, basically, it may sound a bit funny, but it's alright. Now, metronome, it's pretty self-explanatory if you want to have that on. It'll continue that, clicking sound the whole time. Now click on subdivisions, and it'll do eighth notes. So now, we're going to turn that off. Alright, so over here is swing. So let's say you're playing some jazz song, you can click swing. So, just to emphasize it, I'm going to put it back here. Yeah, it kind of only works for eighth note, but if you want that, it's there. If you're playing classical or orchestra stuff, obviously don't swing it. Okay, what next? So we'll get into that later. Alright, my takes. This is when you're recording yourself. We'll get to that. Assessment, again with the recording. Loop. So, loop, let's say I click from there. Okay, and I'm going to set it. Now I can drag this to, just for example, put it there. Now use count off between loops. That means each time it's going to do that 1, 2, 3, 4, very slow. So usually when I do it, I don't, just because it wastes time and we want to be efficient while we're practicing. So just to example, we're going to shut that off. So yeah, sometimes the coding or something doesn't work, and it doesn't work all the time, but usually if you're doing backgrounds it'll work, but it might sound a bit funny, so just take some time to get used to it. So we're going to clear that. Display. So this is a bit funky, and I'll explain it more when I'm demonstrating a real song, but this line, especially when you're playing jazz, especially if it's fast, may not always be with the beat. So if we go up here, beat cursor, that is this blue line. It can be on the beat, flow, where it just kind of goes across like this without really staggering. Note, just stick there, then there, and then there. I personally pretty much always have it off just because it gets a little bit in the way. Highlight measure, I keep that on. It just helps stay in track. Colorblind mode, I'm not colorblind, so I can't vouch for it. So we're going to go back to tracks. Here, very important, is your metronome. If you need to slow it down, just keep clicking until you get to your desired number, and it'll slow it down for you. So you can hear it kind of slow. Anyway, so yeah, that's how that works. And then another thing, when you turn off that cursor, the count in disappears. And then when you want to return to the normal speed, click there. Very important when you're listening to live recordings, and I'll get to that in my live recording demonstration. Tuner, very, pretty simple. Just open it, done. And then movements, you can select, just keep, essentially it filters it out. So trombone, can select that. Go to the next song, takes a while to load. Alright, oboes only. So it does get a bit weird with the method books, going through instruments. So let me click back to trombone. Okay, now count off. This one will definitely save you some time. If I'm doing hot cross buns, I'm probably going to have it on 1 or 2. So you just click go. Now it only does 3, 4 instead of the full measure. So now we're going to do a little demonstration. Let me turn off my cursor. Sometimes you have to do that again. So tracks. Alright, let me pick up my trombone. Okay, so now what I'm going to do to record is I'm going to click this button, and that's going to record it. Okay, here we go. And gotta click just melodic. That usually works. Test. Alright, there we go. So. So, purposely messed up some of those. And, so when you see that, these red notes mean you missed it, whether it be timing or something like that. Okay. Alright, assessment. So, this is where you can do your tolerance. I'm going to click strict. So that is going to obviously show me that I was out of tune. Then you can play yourself back. I'm sorry, I'm not just using gaming headphones, so the microphone's not great. But it does the job. Anyway, so yeah, that's how you can grade yourself. So again, green means pretty much everything good with the note or the rest. Yellow means usually a tuning issue, so that was either I was too flat or something like that, or with a sharp too sharp. Red means you missed it, counting wise, or holding the note off. Same for rests. Okay, so now we are going to. Yes, that's all I wanted to go over. Zoom. Don't really have to worry about that right now. Once we finish that, you want to go home. So smart music. So bring you back to the home page. And now we are going to go to band and orchestra. So it comes back to the same thing where you can find the method books, but it specifically goes to the section. Now, all in here is songs, 279 pages of them. Now, obviously you don't want to probably see all of them, so let's say you want to be just jazz ensemble. Genres, jazz keeps going down. Instruments, select your instrument, trombone for me. Difficulty, if you want, I'm going to click everything but top 2. Okay, so there we go. We've got plenty of songs now. So, now, I'm going to, let me turn that on really quick. Gotta show you something. Okay, so now, let's say I find a song like Chameleon. Now I see there's 2 of them. Okay, and I'm like, okay, which one do I choose? Well, both look like they have the same difficulty. I'm going to click on this one. So this one's medium advanced, which means it's almost the most difficult. Click on here, medium easy. So, just for the sake of it, do this one. You can see it's Herbie Hancock. Now, parts. This will show up on a lot of big songs with a lot of people in it. 1st through 4th trombone, for me at least. And Chameleon, obviously, trombone if I want to, choose something else. Open. Alright, so there's a couple of things you have to deal with when you're doing live recordings, which basically means the synthesizer's not playing it. Okay, so we're going to do a little more in-depth stuff for this one. Swing, that is for my part. So, when I'm playing it by myself with the accompaniment, I'm going to turn off my part, and I'll get to that in a second. Accompaniment up, metronome off just for now, and count into 2. That's how I usually do it. Do a quick tuning note. Okay. There we go. Put that down. Done. Close enough. Alright, so now I see we're at 106. Now a quick way you can do it is just click spacebar. Down really quick. Alright, so there's a couple of things you have to worry about. Is with this, once we get to here, you might be able to see how it's dragging behind the cursor. You can see it's just a hair behind. So I'll go to display, turn that to no. Alright, now this is where stuff starts to get a bit funky. If I turn this metronome down, enough, you can kind of hear how the sound gets a bit wonky. Too much. Alright, so then I just click here, and it goes back, and sounds fine. Anyway, okay, so I'm gonna pause, click spacebar if you want. Make sure it's paused. Okay, so there's a couple of things. When you're just going down a song, it's going to automatically do all the pages. Once you reach the bottom section, for example, let me start here. It's gonna count me off. So essentially, once you reach the end, it'll flip that. There we go, like that. And it'll turn the pages for you. Now when you click space again, then you can see the pages and go the full, song length. Okay, so now let's say oops, too far. Let's say I get to the solo section. I'm like, okay, I just want to practice soloing. So I'm going to set that, and we can drag this down to, let's say, just 61 for now. Okay, so now this is where you make sure you click that use count off between loops off. This is where it might get a bit weird if you're trying to play it multiple times, because once it gets going. Because let's say you're playing your solo, you have to sometimes deal with that background. And I remember I was playing this one song, there's this really annoying guitar sound that kept playing every measure, since I was doing just 2 measured chunks. But that shouldn't matter for now. So, let's say you're having a little bit of difficulty and you want to go slow it down without the accompaniment. There is an option for that. Let's bring it down to 85. My part. So this is going to be a synthesizer playing your part. So don't expect it to be too fancy. And now, this is moderate funk, so I'm just going to put on a light swing. And then if we like that, I can turn on the metronome too. Yeah, so sometimes there may be a little error. Yeah, so obviously its definition of a accent, or that is essentially just louder. So it goes on. So now I can see myself. It has graded. So if I go over here, so we can tell there's some notes I missed with them. That one is a bit iffy because I believe it's D flat, especially over there. Anyway, so yeah, you can go through here and grade yourself, listen back. And if you want to delete it, put delete or save. Okay, so now there's one last thing I need to show you guys before this thing is over. When you go to band and orchestra, there is a bunch of other stuff. So choir, tons of stuff in there. Exercises, instruments, trombone. You can see there's some exercises, free selections, that's a lot of stuff. Sight reading, small ensemble stuff, especially as a brass player. And it goes on from there. Solos, especially, I'm going to try and find one of mine. Okay, it doesn't have the one I'm working on, but yes, it does. They do have a lot of solos for you to look at. And anyway, so yeah, that's pretty much Smite Music in a nutshell, very quickly. And I hope you enjoyed it. And then one more thing, recently opened, go back, look at your stuff. New releases, all this stuff. Brian Ball Matches, I believe that's how you say it. Pretty cool stuff for band. And you can search up here, collapse panel if you wish. And yeah, that's it pretty much. So, goodbye, have a nice day.